So, Toby, last game out there before coming home, how have you prepared for this one to make that journey home a little bit more enjoyable compared to the other Welsh regions that have been to South Africa recently?
Well, obviously I can't comment on theirs, but we have enough to worry about ourselves after Friday, which was a bit of a slap in the face, to be honest. And when we look back at it, we saw things that were pretty un-Osprey-like at times, which was disappointing. And there's lots of mitigation for that, but winners find a way. So we've talked a lot about whatever happens on Saturday, we need to certainly match the expectations of ourselves from an effort point of view. We're not at altitude anymore, various aspects of environmental factors. It is what it is, but we need to put our best foot forward for sure and perform more consistently than we did last week.
And the Stormers, your opponents, they only just got the better of Ulster last week. How eager and are you to give them a good game and fight for that away win, I suppose?
Yeah, no, we are, absolutely. And having an influx of international players return as well helps the energy for that as well and the determination for that. We've used this 2 weeks as an opportunity for the first time we've been in a concentrated amount of time as a squad in the time that we've been here. So we've utilised that for some squad culture development as well. So there's a few different layers of what we're doing, and we need to set ourselves up for a strong end to the season and see where that takes us.
Can you just run through those internationals who have joined you out there and available for selection this week?
Yep, everyone has travelled here except for Alan Jones.
Okay, fab, thanks. So the Stormers then, they are dangerous when they get the chance to counter-attack. We saw that at the beginning of the game against Ulster. Is that something that you're going to hope to limit, and how do you do that?
Well, to be fair, that it was the same threat last week, as you saw in the game. So yeah, we've had a dress rehearsal for sure. So without doubt, this game is often, looks like it's going to be one of who deals with the kicking game the best. Now, because if you kick loosely to their counter-attack, there's a world of pain coming back the other way, and vice versa. They're going to kick the ball a lot, and we have to deal with that threat to make sure that we can turn that pressure around so that we can impose ourselves on them. And that's really what this game's going to all be about.
And with regards to all the players that you've got there, then everyone firing fit, ready to go? Any injuries or niggles that you're worried about?
Steve Myler won't be fit. He got injured. Well, he pulled up actually in the session last week and obviously didn't start, even though he was named to start. So he hasn't made it. Everywhere we've had a little bit of illness in the camp, but we're hoping everybody else will be fine.
And then just a quick word finally from me on Bradley Davis. He signed a new contract extension. He said as well that he wants to help the youngsters in the squad. How valuable is that to you from a coach's perspective?
Yeah, well, every coach you speak to wants leadership, on and off the pitch. And Brad's extremely experienced and still performs well at the level that he needs to, and it's not a sentiment element of re-signing. His performances have warranted his extension, and I know that he has a long-term view of getting into coaching. So from that point of view, it's sort of a natural evolution, if you like, from playing into where he wants to go, and the young team that we're trying to develop will benefit from that.
Fab, thank you, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Toby, you mentioned your travelling players there. Everybody who travelled except Alan Wynne-Jones. We never actually had the full list of those who travelled. Of your current Wales internationals, does that mean all of them in the Six Nations, bar Alan Wynne?
Yes, it does.
So that would be great, wouldn't it, to have the cavalry coming back? I assume.
Yeah, it was. There's no. there's no airs and graces. Friday was disappointing from a result point of view and the nature of it. And what's great is having an influx of people who care about each other and the region to come in and almost bring some buoyancy to the group and some energy to the group. And I can't speak highly enough of what those international boys have done off the pitch as well as on.
I've seen all the games against Welsh teams in South Africa, and the notable feature is the South Africans' ability to sort of counter from nowhere, basically, and turn quarter chances into tries. The Dragons found out all about that as well last weekend. I mean, how can you pep your attacking game, do you feel?
It's difficult. Well, for your attacking game, well, the first thing is you need to control them defensively. So, loose kicks and giving their ability to come onto the ball is really difficult. And you saw that offloads, and they play in a different climate, which means that the offloading game is going to be paramount to what they do. If they can bring the ball to you and offload, it's very difficult to get control. And defence is all about first getting control before you can get the ball back. So that's the first thing. And often that's due to the quality of your kicking game or the speed of the ball at the breakdown. And we couldn't build pressure enough on them by the amount of attacking breakdowns that we turned over. And so whenever we got into good areas and kept it, we came away with points. Whenever we didn't, there's a huge price to pay because, at altitude, ball travels further. They've got a lot of speed on the edges and a lot of boys that play a lot of sort of sevens type attack, which is very difficult to get hold of. So that's the recipe. And you have to understand it's going to be very uncomfortable out there. So when you have got the ball, you need to control it extremely well. And we didn't do that well enough. So
you missed 33 tackles, as you say. You mentioned your defence. Was that because, of your inability, perhaps, to slow down the Lions' ball?
I think so. I think that's certainly part of it. And it's the nature of transition. So it's when you've got the ball, you turn over that bit about getting organised defence, going from attack to defence. That's what we certainly looked at this week. We still want to be positive as we can, and we need to respect the ball because without it, you're going to pay a big price.
Is it your wish? I don't know if he's playing this weekend to sort of get the ball in hand of Keelan Giles a little bit more. You watch these sort of South African back three flyers, and they're only small. They're similar build, a lot of them, to Keelan, and yet they do untold damage. I mean, I guess moving forward, would you hope to see Keelan doing that kind of stuff for you?
100%. All of our edge players, really. All of the people, the potency, Matt Prother hasn't travelled with us, but he's another example. Luke Morgan, we've got some speed as well as some physicality with people like George and Cuthbert. So, from that point of view, you can skin the cat different ways, but ultimately you want to get your most potent players on the ball as much as possible. In order to do that, you need to respect the ball, look after it, and you need to win the middle of the pitch, because if you don't get momentum yourselves, then they're going to be taking off the back foot. The one thing that gets forgotten out here, I think everyone marvels at the attack, is the aggressiveness of the defence and the aggressiveness of the defensive breakdown. So from that point of view, they almost try and shut you off before you get there. So in order to get these attacking-based players in the game, you need to win the middle of the pitch.
With Keelan, what have you made of him? I mean, he suffered those two really bad injuries before you came to the region, really.
Sure.
Has he impressed you as a player?
He's got a great amount of potential, as you said. The challenge for him is being able to back up week on week, both in training and in performance. And as with a lot of people that come off long-term injury, the more you get them out there, the more they're growing in confidence in their body. But he's certainly got a lot of potential for sure.
What were you encouraged by? There must have been something, even though the scoreline was pretty gruesome. Were you encouraged by anything last week?
Yeah, I mean, he got away, as we said after the game. It sort of blew out a little bit, and there was a couple of key moments. I thought that there were some significant signs of some individuals that were getting. So Dan Lydiate, for example, it's good to see him and pushing himself into there, and some Morgan Morris turned the ball over a bit and carried the ball well. So on an individual, there were still some decent performances out there, as I said, and to hang in there for which we knew would be a very uncomfortable first 20 minutes, and to almost get ourselves a foot in holding the game was good to see. But we need 80-minute performances, especially at this time of year.
Reece Webb keeps standing up for you as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we acknowledged that in our team meeting today. We made him captain because he's a competitor above anything else, and he shut down a couple of attacks on his own because he wanted to compete. And we've talked about how infectious that behaviour can be. And Webby certainly is a guy who keeps putting his hand up and has done all year, to be fair. He's been very consistent for us as a captain, but also in the behaviours that you want to see.
Yeah, I'm going to spring a question on you now, which I don't know if you're prepared for. There was a report in the Welsh press yesterday about a young outside half from, I think, Exeter, Jack Walsh. And I think the process of elimination seemed to suggest he wasn't going to any of the other 3 regions, and there was a possibility he might end up with you. Do you know anything of it?
He looks like quite a good player, doesn't he?
He does look like a quite good player, apparently.
Yeah, I clicked on social media. I saw he looked like a good player.
Can we expect to see him in Ospreys colours next year?
You can expect what you like, Mark. Of course, you can expect it. Well, whether he does or not, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, he's certainly an interesting player for sure. We're looking to, as you know, part of our recruitment plan is to get young talent in at the bottom and grow them into long-term Ospreys players that can perform at the highest level. In order to do that, we have to find those players that often people don't know about, or people are less or probably less obvious or not household names yet. And we want to make those boys, along with the boys that we bring in, or all of the boys we bring into that sort of area of our squad, to give us the best chance to be successful for the long term. So, if he's a player of talent, which he looks like he is, we'd obviously be interested.